Okay, so today I am kind of killing two birds with one stone, and this is going to be my second episode on the podcast, Caryn Federer Music Mania podcast. Yes, I stole that Caryn Federer's Music Mania title from what I used to call my public access TV show that I had for years when I was living out in Long Island, in the Medford area. Which is out there, it's like exit 64 area on the Long Island Expressway. But anyway, so this is going as episode 2 on the Caryn Federer Music Mania podcast on anchor.fm. And this is also being filmed via Zoom. We may have some guests show up, we may not. I kind of decided yesterday that I was going to do this, and it was kind of like a last minute announcement because I was trying to get some guys. We've been doing these San Ulano drug clubs weekly for weeks now, pretty close to when the stuff hit the fan, so to speak, and with the quarantine, everybody had to stay in. So it was kind of my idea and a way to buck everybody up a little bit, A bunch of us have stayed in touch over the years since Sam passed in 2014. And so we've been doing these weekly meetings. So, I sent out the Zoom link, I think it was last night. And so if people show up, they'll show up, and surprise, they'll be on the podcast. If they don't, that's fine too. And we'll get some drumming done. Okay, so I worked my left hand on that page 1 of Bass Bops on my own. It would sound the same as last episode, maybe a little slower or weaker, just because it would be left hand and I'm a righty. Hopefully not too much noticeable, but it is what it is. So I decided not to do that, and I decided today we're going to move on to page 2. Now, page 2, we're still dealing with quarter notes, going back and forth between the bass drum and the snare drum. Again, this is Bass Bops, the first Bass Bops, because later on, Sam Ulano wrote Bass Bops 2, much, much later. This was 1948 that it got published. He wrote it when he was 15. Sam was born in 1920. So this was and is the first ever drum set book written. Yes, Jim Chapin's Modern Techniques, Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer has that same publishing date, but we believe that this was actually written, not published same year, but we believe that this was actually written before Jim Chapin's book. Okay, so our approach here, I should say my approach, our approach. My approach here is going to be the same. I'm going to run down the page 3 ways. So the first way is we are going to do that snare, ding, ding, snare, ride. Oh, okay. Ride, cymbal pattern, swing, ding, ding, a ding, ding, a ding. I feed the dog, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's going to be on the ride. Hi-hat's going to be chicken 2 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, chick, 3, chick. And then left hand, I'm going to have traditional grip for right now because I'm going to swing, and I like swinging with the traditional grip, as Buddy did, which I wrote my thesis on. It's called Buddy Rich's Life and Technique. And that is available on my website, carynfederer.com. I think Buddy Rich fans and drumming fans will enjoy that because I examined a lot in that book. I studied him for a year. It was my master's thesis, and it turned into a book. And so I read a whole bunch of biographies, what's out there. And I looked at a lot of footage, and there's a lot of good information there. So if you want to know a little bit more about him, or you want to kind of know. I think I called it his secret moves, you know, like I thought of like games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, you know, when I was a kid, there were like certain codes and stuff, AAB or XO, you know, not that I was much of a gamer, but I know that there were combinations, and so that's kind of how I thought about it. These are his secret combos that he would use a lot, little, you know, groups of 4 notes or 5 notes or 6 notes, whatever it was, that he would often pull out and do in his solo. So those good stuff things are in there too. But anyway, let's get into it. If you are interested in that book, again, carynfetter.com. If you don't see it right on the home page, there's also a page called Products that you could click on. It'll either be on the home page or on Products or both. Okay, so here we go. We're going to swing. This is page 2 of Sammy Ulano's Bass Bops. So we're going to set up our ostinato. See, I'm getting better at this. I can make a mistake. You know, perfect is good. Mistake perfect. Okay, so next way we're going to attempt to do this is the rock way. And we're going to try it a little faster. I'm just going to stop this because I want to put space in between. Not yet. We don't want to publish it yet. Okay. And so now I'm going to do, because with Anchor, it lets you put in like these sponsored segment things, and so if you get enough listens on the sponsored segments, you get some money. So we don't mind some money. So we'll make sure that we leave some space for that. Okay, so now I'm gonna hit Tools. I'm gonna hit Record. Okay, so moving on. Again, Bass Bops by Sammy Ulano. Page 2, and now we're going to rock, and I'm going to try to up the tempo a little bit. Ding, ding, dang, ding, 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 that sort of thing going on. Again, I can't say enough of how happy I am to be a heartbeat percussion artist. I am holding in my hands these beautiful looking and very good feeling heartbeat percussion oak sticks. It says HB 5AOT, and they look beautiful. They're darker wood. They feel good. They're not like too light. I don't like too light sticks. I feel like I'm not even playing. They feel nice. So, okay. And of course my Armor cymbals that look beautiful and sound beautiful. I have 15-inch hi-hat, 19-inch crash, and 22 ride. And as you can hear, they sound great. So on to that rock interpretation of page 2 of Bass Bops, Sam Ulano's Bass Bops. So we still got bass drum, reading bass drum. I'm gonna flip my left hand over to match grip now. I feel like I can kind of whack harder that backbeat, which sometimes you need to do for rock that way. So that's reading the snare line, 2 and 4 on the hi-hat, and straight 8th notes, rock 8th notes on the ride. And here we go. Set up the ostinato. Oh man, he got me. He got me. He's not even here. He's still, well, I mean, he's here, you know, in our hearts and in our memories and, you know, looking down. But he's still getting us, still challenging us, and that's the beauty of books. And I think that might be why he always used to nudge me about, I should write a book. But I mean, when your teacher wrote more books than anybody on the planet, you know, you wrote like 4,000 drum books. It's like, well, what can I say that you haven't already? You know, but I think that's one of the reasons why he encouraged me to do it. And you know, I have my book on Buddy Rich. Maybe one day, I'll do it. I gotta have something, you know, to really say, to really make me want to do that. So, but anyway, the tricky thing about page 2 is that you get comfortable. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th line from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5th line from the bottom, because it's like, okay, he was throwing the snare drum in different places, the line above that, and the line above that one and stuff. And so you get to the 5th from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5th from the bottom. And so every measure is the same in that line. Then it goes to a different pattern. The next line, every measure is the same. Then it goes 3rd line from the bottom, every measure is the same. And then he gets you the bottom line, the second to bottom line, every measure is the same. That bottom line is like, whoosh, don't get too comfortable. You know? And so that's the brilliance of Sam, is you know, he was always saying use your brain, and so he makes sure, you know, the folks that study his stuff, you gotta keep on your toes, you gotta keep sharp, you know, and that's gonna make the difference of, are you gonna get the gig or somebody else going to get the gig? So if you're sharp, you'll get the gig. If you're reading, if you're not just coasting along, if you're alert, if you're in the moment, you know, and just not taking things for granted. Because I mean, if you play with the band, things happen, you know, and you have to adjust accordingly. You're not a metronome, and you know, there's humans, so that means that there's mistakes, and there's emotions, and there's sometimes other humans watching you, and sometimes that plays in. You know, what if an audience member coughs, or what if an audience member, you know, leaves the room because they have to use the restroom or whatever, and is that going to throw somebody, and all these different factors. So, or if a phone goes off nowadays. Anyway, okay, so we're going to tackle the last variation for today, which is that Latin variation. And if you hear my dog barking in the background, I apologize. I'm down here and she's up there, and there's not too much that I can do at the moment right now, especially because I want to drum and talk to you good folks. So we're going to pause that again. As I mentioned, this will not only be on YouTube, but this will be my second episode on my podcast. It's called Caryn Music Mania. And let me save this. Hopefully she's barking because the mail is here. Mail time. Add recording to episode. Yes, I want to do that. And then I also want to do add a sponsored segment. Money is good. Tools. Record. Okay, we are back, and we are going to do the final variation for today, which is going to be our Latin. Cha-cha-cha. Okay, so the way we're going to do this, because you can do Latin with straight eighths. The bossa is like that. And all the while you have that going on. But we just did straight eighths for the rock. So we're gonna do ding, 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 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. And so as I mentioned before, you don't want to let it swing. You want to keep it nice and steady, even eighth notes. And left hand's reading snare, bass drum's reading bass drum, 2 and 4 on the hi-hat, ding, 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 1, 2, and 3, 4, and I'm going to put on this nice Heartbeat 22-inch or more ride cymbal that I got in front of me. Okay, and so the other difference with this is our left hand is going to do those clicks. I'm kind of dreading, you know what, I'm going to switch sticks for this because I don't want to kill these beautiful, beautiful oak Heartbeat sticks because they look beautiful and I don't want a bunch of marks on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to use these, and here we go. So start off that ostinato. I thought that's a participant went in. Okay, no, that's still not. Okay. You know what? Let me take it from, because I was looking at the Zoom. Let me take it on. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take it on that fifth from the bottom line I was talking about before, because you get nice and comfy, and then you just, I'm going to make you think. Okay, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth line of bass bops, and again, unfortunately, his stuff at the moment, 2020, is not being mass distributed. I would love to see it mass distributed. But if you're interested in getting his materials, please contact me. Okay? You can email me, check out carynfeder.com, or my fan page on Facebook, and you'll be able to contact me. Okay, so this is the fifth line from the bottom. Here we go. Bass drum 1, 2, 3, and rim on 4. Okay, it looks to me like this is a little more challenging. There's less repetitive things going on, so you really got to have your thinking cap on. Okay, now this is definitely, even though you're only seeing bass drum and snare drum written, it says right on the bottom, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to underline this in my book. On the bottom, he has, man, he was such an innovator. Look at the top of this page. And the bottom of this page. He was already on page 2 on the bottom. He talks about tom-toms. I'm going to underline that. This was definitely not intended as just, you know, a snare drum and bass drum book. That's the way that it's written, but it says right in it. This is not just a snare drum and bass drum book. If you look at the bottom of page 2, it says, if the equipment is available for a change in effect, play the top notes on 9x13 tom-tom, lower notes on the 16/16 tom-tom. So he was already getting into doing different variations with this. So you could like get a jungle thing going on. I'll just do a little tiny bit of that because I want to get back to our styles and stuff, you know, but okay. So if I'm looking back, before we jump into page 3, looking back at page 2, I'll just real quick do the tom-tom thing for you. Okay. So I'm gonna play match grip. Again, these are my Heartbeat Oak Sticks HB5AOT that I'm using. So I got my high tom, left hand, my low tom, right hand, and I'm gonna play down the page 2, because Sam said so, with the tom-toms, and then we'll get into page 3. Okay, so I'm gonna keep, you know what? I'm gonna put bass drum quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Bass drum quarter notes, hi-hat 2 and 4. Left hand's gonna read the top, right hand's gonna read the bottom. Left hand's on high tom, right hand's on 4